Hello, eXp. It's Cody Gilkison. I'm your DEI director for eXp Realty, and I'm here joined today by Sara Marshall, who is the inaugural chair of our new eXp Indigenous Network. The point of today's episode is for us to get to know what that is and what we're going to bring to the table. So I'll start by saying that the Indigenous Network is part of our DEI Foundations program, which is a program by which people can come to us with ideas for groups which aren't already represented by 1EXP to help have the DEI team assist with propping them up and putting on events and putting out content so that they can eventually make themselves into a real 1EXP resource group. Other success stories you guys know are the Healthy Mind Collective and the Climate Action Network, and we hope this might be the next thing. So welcome, Sara. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Cody. I'm really excited to be starting this group. I live in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. It's a small little city, but it's on the border of Michigan. So I've been practicing real estate for 3 years now and 1 year with eXp, and I'm just loving it. And I just love that they have such a diverse community, and I want to be part of it.
That's fantastic. So let's get started and talk about Indigenous Network. What do we see as the mission and the vision for eXp Indigenous Network?
Well, I think it would be probably similar to a lot of the other groups that are under the umbrella, to embrace and nurture a community within eXp that's dedicated to understanding the unique needs of Indigenous people, making a commitment to making a positive difference in the lives of Indigenous people through, a compassionate approach and a genuine respect for their culture, and to basically just support Indigenous people to grow their business, their real estate businesses, and reach their full potential as real estate professionals.
That's brilliant. And I love, a big vital part of all of our networks is that sort of referral and listing sharing piece where somebody can find a cultural fit for them for an agent, or if we have Indigenous clients that are looking for an Indigenous agent, they can use this resource at eXp to find it.
Exactly.
I love that piece. So what in your personal experience drew you to want to bring this to us as a new movement?
Well, a little bit of history. I have been politically involved in as an advocate for Indigenous peoples since I was a teenager. Got that from my mother being involved, and I just kind of followed in her footsteps. This was in my province of Ontario. We had a group that worked with the government to ensure that Indigenous rights were recognized. I was, I think, 16 at the time, and I said, "Hey, Indigenous youth need a voice too because they are the future." And now, several years later, the future's here. So, I believe that many Indigenous people have come a long way to become business people and entrepreneurs, and I think they need to be supported and recognized for their achievements. And when I met you, Cody, at the eXp Summit in Orlando, I didn't know what eXp 1 was, and I was very surprised that there was no Indigenous network when you explained, all the different groups, and you said, "No, we don't have an Indigenous one." I was like, Indigenous people are the first peoples of the Americas and many other places in the world, but so it's a bit ironic that as being an Indigenous person to be selling land that was taken away from Indigenous people. But as business goes, we have to embrace the capitalism to get ahead and be successful. So I gave it some thought and decided someone needs to create this group, so why not me?
That's it. And so often we get suggestions for groups, but then we struggle to find someone who wants to take the steering wheel, right? Mm-hmm. And it's rare that I have someone that says, I think we need this, and I'm willing to do it, right? So I applaud you for that. We are currently, I want to throw out there that we are currently looking for a co-chair. That typically with our resource groups, we have a chair and a co-chair or two co-chairs. And we'd love to find Sara a counterpart. So if this speaks to you, reach out to us. You can reach us at DEI@exprealty.net, or just come right to either one of us on Workplace Chat. I'm sure we'll welcome you with open arms if you want to take on that commitment.
Exactly. That would be great.
Yeah. So tell me, how can eXp Realty agents and staff get involved now to help with the building of this new resource group?
Well, I think they can help or get involved just by understanding the needs of Indigenous people, like understanding what their culture is, like their unique culture, and recognizing that all the business that we do is conducted on Indigenous lands. That would be a big step.
Yeah.
So, I'm hoping that non-Indigenous people will join the group too as allies to learn about our culture. And, although it's not just one culture, we're made up of several tribes and First Nations, depending if you're in the US or Canada. But all Indigenous people share the same values of, respecting and preserving the land and waterways. And we've all come from a generation who has suffered some form of genocide or government interference, and risen from the ashes to become a strong nation again.
That's brilliant. I love that. I think there's some real opportunities for crossover with our other resource groups too. I think that the Indigenous Network could have a lot to say to help out the Climate Action Network. Talking about respect for the land and that sort of business. Yeah, I love that. And, I see more and more these days a really popular thing to do that other DEI leaders are doing is bringing a land acknowledgement forward whenever we're doing in-person events. So we're also looking for people that know how to speak truth to those and know how to advocate for those when we're having our in-person events. It's important.
Yes, exactly.
And I'd say, first and foremost, if people want to get involved, the first thing you need to do is check out the ticker that's going below us right now. Go on Workplace, find the eXp Indigenous Network, and join, right? That's the only way you're going to be able to know about all of our new stuff. So what kind of content and topics can we expect eXp Indigenous Network to cover?
Well, you already touched on one thing that was in my mind was the land acknowledgement. So, because I am also really hoping that, would love to see land acknowledgements being done at every conference or gathering that we have hosted in person. And, depending on the location where we're gathering, possibly having like a local drumming group or an elder open the meeting. Being a global organization and a cloud-based brokerage, maybe some of the topics we could cover would be getting noticed on social media, making content that stands out, how to make great real estate videos, or how to use being part of the Indigenous network to our advantage. That's kind of crosses over to other groups too. But we are cloud-based, and a lot of stuff is just online, and just getting familiar with those kinds of things would be helpful, and supporting each other doing that. So I'm not sure yet how that will all look or work out, but even something as simple as supporting Indigenous realtors in their real estate business with referrals, that's going to be great.
Yeah, that'll be great. And I think there's some work there that can be done for some events that speak to how to inclusively speak to an Indigenous client, right? I think our agents could really learn from Indigenous folks about that, just like we do in every one of our other resource groups, so that our allies can come in and join and learn something more, if they're faced with an Indigenous client and want to make sure that they're being respectful. Yeah. So, how do you see the Indigenous Network enhancing our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at eXp Realty? Where do you think this ties in?
Well, organizations that embrace diversity are proven to be more innovative and profitable. And the fact that eXp has a number of networks under, eXp One speaks volumes about how forward-thinking this global brokerage is. And so now by adding an Indigenous network, we're creating a sense of belonging for Indigenous employees and realtors, and creating an inclusive work environment. So I believe it will also enhance eXp's reputation as an employer and brokerage of choice for diverse talent.
I love that. Yeah, that's directly it, right? We want to make sure that everybody feels represented and that we can measure that representation as well, right?
Mhm.
So that's going to be one of the groups that we lean on. I also think, as you know, in my role at DEI, the company often comes to me to say, are we doing this right? Are we doing, when it comes to cultural celebrations or holidays and, stuff like a land acknowledgement. And it's good for me to be able to turn to a network of people from that community and say, what's your take? Rather than just giving my answer as Cody, right?
Mhm. Right.
So that's always brilliant. We love having that. That really enhances our efforts quite a bit.
All right.
So how do you think this new resource group helps to support and empower our agents and staff from Indigenous communities? We touched
Well,
on this quite a bit already, but
yeah, we have. So, by being a group that provides a safe space for Indigenous people to come together, be themselves, be recognized and heard. It's similar to when I was at the eXp Summit in Orlando. I found myself seeking out other Canadians. I
yeah,
didn't realize that Canadians were such a minority there. I'd come across somebody and like, "Yo, you're from Canada. I'm from Canada too." And
yeah,
it was so great. It was such a thrill when you found somebody that was from your own country. So that's the same way when you find somebody that's from your own culture. You're gonna have that sense of community and comfort to being with people that you share culture with, knowledge that you share the same struggles and obstacles, and just being able to support each other.
right, yeah. And I tell people all the time with one EXP, any of our resource groups, and this one as well. When you come to work, you're here to do your job. You collect your paycheck, you go home. That sort of deal. You're out selling houses, you make the sale, you go home. That's it. But what are you doing to make yourself feel proud when you lay your head on your pillow, right? And
Right.
that, I think these diversity groups really help enhance that. At least they have for me and for a lot of people that I've talked to, where they feel like not only did I make some money today, but I made a difference today, right? And there's an opportunity here, particularly with a group that's on the ground floor, to make a difference. This is something that you can say you made a lasting impact with. Here's your opportunity. We're just looking for you to raise your hand, right?
Right.
And that's the opportunity we provide.
Yeah, it's very exciting, and I want to know, who are you? All the Indigenous people, come
Yeah,
forward and let's create this group and work together and make something
come find
happen.
us. I love, I sort of feel like we missed an opportunity to not do this at the fireside in EXP world, right? Like,
Yes,
this is the perfect fireside chat
for
moment with the
sure.
Indigenous Network, right? Maybe we have some meetings out there. That would be great.
Well, we got to meet each other, and I think that that was the reason.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
that's
can
really
start
good.
this.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for taking on leadership at the Indigenous Network. And for more information on the eXp Indigenous Network, find it using the ticker below. Just search eXp Indigenous Network. If you don't know how to spell it, there it is right down there. And then also, I would ask you to join the eXp Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Workplace Group for more updates on our upcoming events and more content like this. Let us know you want to see it. Let us know what ideas you have for the future. And if you have an idea for a new DEI Foundations group, come on ahead and bring your idea. You never know, you could be the next person sitting here next to me like Miss Sara here. All right. Thank you, Sara. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Cody.
See ya.